Hello everyone, Keir Smith here, back with another video, and for today's video I'm going to be talking about an album that I don't think I've listened to for 10 years, maybe even more. It's Oasis' second album from 1995, the much loved What's the Story Morning Glory. I simply never feel the need to go back and listen to this album. I'm so familiar with these songs. I mean, these songs are played everywhere. On this recent tour that Oasis are doing, they play no fewer than 8 songs from this album. Now that's not to say it's not a good album, because it is a good album. Very good in fact. But is this album right up there with the very best albums of all time? Abbey Road, Pet Sounds, Blonde on Blonde, Sticky Fingers, The Dark Side of the Moon, Led Zeppelin 4? No, I don't think so. In fact, it falls way short. In fact, and I say this as a big Oasis fan, I think there's 4 Oasis albums that I'd put in front of this one. Now I appreciate, to say such a thing, you have to have lived with these albums for a lot of years to come to that type of conclusion. There are in fact 7 Oasis studio albums, however much they try and force Definitely Maybe and What's the Story Morning down your throat. There are 7 albums to listen to. But without a shadow of a doubt, What's the Story Morning Glory was the high point of Oasis popularity. A #1 album in the UK and a very impressive #4 in the US. Released on the 2nd of October 1995, it was a seminal record, not only for the Britpop era, but also for the decade. In the first week of its release, it sold nearly 350,000 copies, making it the second fastest selling album in British history, behind Michael Jackson's Bad from 1987. Fans literally went mad for it, relating to the band's working class roots and their us against the world attitude and their sense of irreverence, their fashion, their style, their swagger. They were and remain cultural icons. But with all that said and all of that hype aside, how good is this album really? How good is the music? Well, I'll take you through the album now, track by track, and I'll tell you what I think's good and what's not so good. So the opening track on the album is simply called Hello, and I really like the way that this fades in with those Wonderwall chords before you hear that bleeping sound. The overdrive pedal is stepped on and those electric guitars come crashing in. And them guitars, they really growl. New drummer Alan White's tumbling drum fills are really good here, and I was always drawn to that lyric, nobody ever mentions the weather can make or break your day. It's true. I can still remember the album being released because my 2 older brothers, Craig and Liam, both went out and bought individual copies of the album. I was just over 3 months short of my 15th birthday, so I didn't have much money, but they brought the album home and we listened to it together. And we all chose our favourite songs from the album after maybe 1 or 2 listens. Liam's was Morning Glory and Craig's was Champagne Supernova. Mine was Hello. It's definitely a rousing opener, and I love Noel's gritty soloing at the end of the song. That's fantastic. And of course Noel nicks the outro from the Gary Glitter song, Hello, Hello, I'm Back Again, but that's really good and only enhances this song. I was in town a few weeks back and I heard Hello and I stood there and I thought, that is such a great song. I still love that song. So for me, that's a great start to the album, no doubt about it, but then we get the lead single, Roll With It, which for me is, and always has been, Oasis by numbers. It's good enough, it's a good tune, but it's a bit repetitive, and that is a thing about this album that bogs it down for me. It lacks any lyrical depth really, and largely that doesn't matter when the tunes are so good, but this album would be better for more lyrical depth. And the lyrics to Roll With It are so throwaway that it is simply a good indie tune, let's say, nothing more. One of the B-sides from the CD single, Rockin' Chair, should most definitely have taken the place of Roll With It on this album, and if not Roll With It, maybe 1 or 2 of the others. So on to the next track, which is a little known song called Wonderwall. Now, what could I possibly say about Wonderwall that hasn't already been said thousands and thousands of times? I'll tell you what I'll say, I don't love this song. I never have. I've always thought it was a bit bland. There's nothing to it. It's a mellow, slow to mid-paced acoustic song that doesn't really get out of first gear, and again, the lyrics are pretty throwaway. It's a nice enough tune, don't get me wrong, but there's not much to it. It is the most unlikely hit single. And to think that this has gone on to become the Oasis song that everybody knows, well, it's not a representation of the band, absolutely not. The way people swoon over this song, I don't get it. It's not like Liam's even singing the song with any emotional depth. It's a very straight vocal. But millions and millions relate to this song, so I'm in the minority, obviously. But when we were growing up, as I say, me, my brothers, our friends, we were all into Oasis, and no one picked out Wonderwall as their favourite song. Not one. I think the thing with Wonderwall is the girls liked it as well, and once you've got the lads singing it at the top of their voices and girls swooning over it, you've got it made. But no, it's boring. It's alright. The next song on the album, and the band's second UK number one, is the brilliant Don't Look Back in Anger, which steals its opening piano chords from John Lennon's classic Imagine. Another feature of this album is how many good bits Noel nicks. Hey, if you can't beat them, steal from them. But when the album was released, I absolutely loved this. As I say, I was 14 going on 15, and this song made me feel quite emotional. It's a really good melody, a rousing chorus, Noel sings it great, and good guitar solo too. And I can still enjoy this song when I hear it, but it is creeping into the overplayed category. In fact, it's already there, but I'm hanging on to it. Up next is the very disappointing Hey Now. This song is a bit of a dirge. Again, this one is repetitive and could well have benefited from an additional verse. And this is a little bit like Roll With It, but less exciting and not as up-tempo. It kind of trudges a lonely path and just keeps walking down it. The chorus is a bit limp. I thought that I heard somebody say now, there's no time for running away now. Hey now, hey now. And we all know that Noel had much better songs than this lying around, but a bad song selection, I think. I read that the song Step Out, which was a B-side to the Don't Look Back in Anger single, was going to be included on the album right up until the last minute. But with that song, Noel had clearly nicked the chorus from a Stevie Wonder classic, so I think the record company were fearing some kind of lawsuit being filed against them, and so it was left off the album. On to track 6, which is a short instrumental break, an excerpt from a song that we now lovingly know as the Swamp Song. Not much to say here other than I wish it went on longer because it's a really good tune, and sadly here it's over as soon as it begins. Again, with hindsight, I think that that's another missed opportunity. On to track 7, which is Some Might Say. Now, I said earlier that Roll With It was the lead single for the album. Well, it certainly felt that way because Some Might Say was released, I think, some 5, maybe even 6 months before the release of the album. So as fans, we were already well familiar with Some Might Say, which was the band's first UK number one. And it's a really good song. I loved it back then. Not so much now, but I still think it's a really good song. It's got a big anthemic chorus. Some might say, we will find a brighter day. Right on. The guitars sound great on this song. It's a big song. It's loud. It's catchy. It's very good. The sink is full of fishes. She's got dirty dishes on the brain. And how my dog's been itching in the kitchen once again. Concrete proof that lyrics don't have to mean anything. On to Cast No Shadow. Now, I like this song, but not half as much as other people seem to. It's a good song. It's a nice tune. Really nice guitar playing here. I really like Noel's harmonies. They're fantastic throughout. He takes that high harmony and it kind of ghosts Liam's vocal, and yeah, it's really good. But again, it's a bit repetitive, and again, I think it would have benefited from another verse. Now at this point, I'll ask the question, is this lazy songwriting, as some people have said, and I think Noel himself said that he couldn't be bothered to write a second verse for some of these songs? Or is it a clever trick? I mean, like I say, I can remember 95% of these songs' lyrics, and I've not heard the album in over a decade in its entirety. But see, because there isn't so much to remember, it's so easy to sing along to and easy to attach yourself to. Does that make it a great song? No, but it makes it enjoyable. I think it suffers a little bit for me because it's sandwiched between two songs on the album which I like better. Which brings me nicely onto the next song on the album, the effervescent She's Electric. This is such a jaunty and uplifting tune, and it sounds like a very complete song. There's a good deal of lyrics here, daft and as throwaway as they are. She's got a cousin. In fact, she's got about a dozen. She's got one in the oven, but it's nothing to do with me. I always really like that. And Noel nicks another good bit here, if not two good bits, with the ending borrowing from the Beatles classic With a Little Help from My Friends. Just listen to the end of With a Little Help from My Friends and listen to the end of She's Electric, and it's exactly the same. And there's another bit in the song where Liam sings, and I want you to know, that vocal melody sounds suspiciously like the Beatles' While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I'm pointing these things out, but it's not really a negative against any of these songs. If you're going to steal, you might as well steal from the best. On to Morning Glory, my now favourite song on the album. It would be in my top 3, if not my favourite Oasis song. This is absolutely brilliant. The sound of helicopters, that searing riff comes in, the pounding drums, it just kicks the door in. It rocks, and it doesn't let up until the song's natural conclusion, of course. All your dreams are made when you chain to the mirror and the razor blade, a clear drug reference. Today's the day that all the world will see. Liam's a great vocalist, of course he is, but the thing about Liam for me is he's utterly convincing. You hung on his every word. He meant it. The underlying guitar riff, of course, is taken entirely and shamelessly from R.E.M's The One I Love, but again, it certainly enhances this song, and this is a rip-roaring classic. And that is such a great Peter Buck R.E.M. riff that you're going to want to nick that. You know you should, so I guess you might as well. And again, by now, you know what I'm going to say. A second verse would have been nice, but really, with Morning Glory, I love this song so much, it doesn't really matter here for me. Another short instrumental passage next, another short excerpt from the Swamp Song. Again, over far too soon. With hindsight, they should have really put the two instrumental parts together, or maybe fleshed it out a bit more. We eventually got it, the whole Swamp Song thing, on the Wonderwall single, of course, but to have maybe 2 or 3 minutes of it as one piece put after Hey Now, Before Some Might Say, that would have broke the album up nicely and served the album well, I think. But of course, hindsight is a wonderful thing, as they say. On to the final song on the album, the slow-burning epic that is Champagne Supernova, and this is a great song. Again, slightly oddball lyrics here, slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball, but that refrain of, where were you while we were getting high, is great. And apparently that was merely a simple phrase that Noel, the band and their mates used to say to each other, because people believe that they're going to get away for the summer. I always like those lines from Noel. They seem throwaway, but they're an observation on English life. We love our summer holidays. The middle of the song is absolutely brilliant. Paul Weller is the guest lead guitarist here, and he plays a sensational guitar solo. There's a real swirling kind of feel to this mix, and it's a bit psychedelic. And the sun comes down and slowly starts to fade out, but I always like that military style drumming right near the end of the song. That's kind of neat. Now, I've not heard Champagne Supernova in such a long time. I've not ran into that song anywhere, so I may just stick that one on tomorrow. Yeah, Champagne Supernova is a great song, a big epic to end the album with. Good choice. So, my overall feeling for this album is that side 1 sags a bit for me with Roll With It, Wonderwall and Hey Now. These, for me, aren't great songs. Not terrible, but average. But thankfully, the second half of the album is much better, especially in that closing salvo of Morning Glory followed by Champagne Supernova. That's big. It really should have put Rocking Chair in there and elbowed Hey Now and put in a fully fleshed The Swamp Song. And I think that would have given the album a nice balance too, and for me, would certainly have made the album better. The standout tracks on this album are Hello, Morning Glory and Champagne Supernova, which, funnily enough, are the 3 that me and my brothers picked between us all those years ago. And I am very fond of She's Electric, which was sadly missing from this tour's setlist. And please do me a small favour and let me know down in the comments section below with Oasis being back together and being out there on tour again. Do you really want to hear Wonderwall again? Or would you sacrifice that and squeeze in something like She's Electric into the set list? Would you prefer that? No right or wrong answer, of course, but I'm of the opinion that they've played Wonderwall forever. I think they've played it on every single tour they've done since Morning Glory. I think What's the Story Morning Glory is a good to very good album. It's very strong in parts but weak in others, and for that reason I don't have it as a stone cold classic. It's not even Oasis' best album. But my opinions aside, there's no doubt about it that this is a landmark album in British music history. And it goes on and on. The kids nowadays are getting into it. My brother Liam went to the Heaton Park show on Saturday the 12th of July and he said that he was mildly surprised at the next generation of fans coming. He said that there was a lot of fans there between the age of 15 and 30. And I don't know if the new fans are necessarily going out and buying the album, but they're certainly adding a lot of songs from What's the Story Morning Glory to their Spotify playlist. So over to you. Is What's the Story Morning Glory one of the greatest albums of all time, or do you think it needs knocking down a peg or two? Please leave any thoughts down below. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for my next video sometime soon. Until then, bye for now.